Well, hi. Originally I said I wasn't going to do a video like this. I wanted to keep this separate due to the climate of YouTube and that really creepy news story that came out that said basically trans people were being used to train AI for facial recognition, and that really pisses me off. So the only thing that will be mentioned as trans is me speaking. There's not going to be anything in the title or the tags because this is my safe space, essentially. But I, as of recording this, am a day away from being a year, but tomorrow, today for you, is my 1 year on testosterone, and that is really crazy to think about, to be honest. It feels like it's only been 6 months max. It does not feel like it's been a whole year. And I just want to talk about, I guess, I don't know, I want to talk about how, if anyone else sees this, because I'm probably going to put it on Tumblr, I want to talk about how down on myself I got when I first started. I think within the first 3 months I wasn't seeing the progression that I saw in other trans people on YouTube. And I got so very hard on myself, and it just was not the best place to be. Luckily, I had Kat to constantly kind of pick me up every time I beat myself down, and she has been an amazing rock through everything. Like, we have our fights, obviously nothing's perfect, people fight, but she's been the most incredible person that stood by me through so much of my beating myself up and everything. So just thank you for that if you're watching it. But overall, I just want to keep a reminder out there for people that do transition that it takes time and you have to learn to be patient, mostly. Because where I'm at right now, I thought was going to take 2 years with how I was progressing before. My voice is a place where I actually approve of it. I mean, I would like it to be a bit more less feminine, but I think that's vocal training, not so much testosterone. And my body language is something I need to work on. Not everything is going to magically change through testosterone, and you have to be patient with yourself because of that. So, like, I pop my hip a lot, and I speak more feminine, and it's just small mannerisms that some things I'm attached to. Like, I'm not gonna be like hypo masculine and where I'm just screaming constantly, or like I can't say that's cute because something is cute. I'm gonna say something's cute if it is, or adorable, or whatever. That's not something I want to get rid of. So, but if that's something you want to get rid of, go for it. Your transition is different. That's my main thing, is don't compare yourself to others. That's the one thing I really had to learn. Outside of patience, it was not to compare myself to other YouTubers, other trans YouTubers, and that's hard at first because you just want to see the same progress. When you're looking at these videos, you're like, oh, that's gonna be me. Oh, that's so cool. That's gonna be what I'm gonna sound like. That's gonna be what I'm gonna look like. No, it's not. It's really not. You have your own journey to go through, and that journey is yours and yours alone, and it's going to be just as fucking amazing because it's yours. It's going to be even more amazing. My journey has been so far from what I thought it was going to be. I didn't think I'd break out so much, and I am, which oddly enough I'm fine with. I thought I'd be a lot more self-conscious, but I'm not. My facial hair grew much faster than others I've seen. Some people have made it to a year and didn't have nearly as much, and I have quite a bit of facial hair already. It's patchy, because patchy facial hair is in my family, but I'm trying to teach it to grow out less patchy. So that's really cool. My voice went from feminine to deep around the 6-month mark. It just instantly went deep one day, and that's the things you gotta think about. Everyone is gonna have a different, you can't see my hands, but everyone is gonna have a different outcome of their own transition, and don't beat yourself up because yours is different. If anything, celebrate that fact. because you don't get to say, oh yeah, well, I knew that was going to happen. You get to say, holy shit, that happened and I wasn't expecting it, or wow, that took much longer, but I feel like I earned it, or something along those lines. Like, it's your own. And that's really great. I think that's something to really appreciate. But for me personally, this year on testosterone has brought a lot of self-reflection, I suppose. I was always told that my empathy would kind of dwindle a bit, that testosterone kind of makes your empathy sort of dwindle, and it has, and I'm struggling with that so much. That's the one thing about my transition I don't approve of very much. My empathy has just plummeted. And part of it's because I'm tired of being treated a certain way, and another part of it is just chemically. And it sucks. But I'm working on that. Like, I'm working on how to, if I can't empathize the same way, how to empathize in a different way. And that's something that I think everyone should keep in mind that is transitioning. You may not change very much on a physical level at first, but emotional level, you're going to change in some way. People said that they didn't cry as much. My gender therapist said that crying might stop. I cry at everything, so if I'm angry, I cry. If I'm sad, I cry. That hasn't changed for me at all. And for people that are afraid of the rage, like how everyone's like, oh, you get more angry, not really. What happens when you start on testosterone is become a teenage boy, and teenage boys have hormones, and hormones mean anger, sadness, it means horny, it means not horny. Like, the rage comes from the fact that you're more irritable because you have all of this body changes just like you did during your first puberty, if you're transitioning after that anyway. This is your second puberty, it's your second coming of life, I guess, I don't know. So you're not more prone to anger, you're just hormonal, and that's normal. It's not like you're going to go out and beat people for no reason. You're just going to be a little bit more irritable, and I highly suggest you keep note of that. When you start to get angry, just pause for a second and think, is this rational? It's always valid if you feel anything. Every feeling is valid, but is it rational? Is it logical? That's what you got to keep in mind. So that's my tip for that. And something I slowly learned, slowly but surely. Also, I noticed I sit like, but, what else has changed? I mean, not, a lot has changed, but at the same time, it's like, nothing's changed, I'm just myself, if that makes sense. Like, a lot has changed, but it's changed that I personally already saw as my inner self, I guess. Like, because before I transitioned and before I even understood what being transgender was, there was always this mental image in my head of who I was, but couldn't be, both personality-wise and physically, but mostly personality-wise. Like, before, in my head, I was very, like, rambunctious and outgoing and fun and laughed outside and made a fool of myself and didn't care if people saw. But externally, I was never able to communicate that because I was so afraid of drawing attention to myself. Because I knew what other people would see isn't what I would want them to see. And I didn't understand what that meant. So I just chalked it up to, oh, well, girls don't act that way. When in reality, that's not true. It's just, I was a girl and I didn't want to be seen as a girl that was acting that way. If that makes any sense, I don't know. But now I am acting that way. I am the inner person that I saw myself being. I goof off at the mall. I, like, joke around. I'm so much happier. I'm so much, like, louder and rambunctious and just obnoxious. And you can, if you knew me, you'd be able to see that so much, and or at least if you knew me before. And it's amazing to me. It really is. I'm so much happier and outgoing and feel good. I feel so good all the time. And I have sad days, but that doesn't make me feel bad either. I don't know. It's really, really hard to explain the emotional changes because it's just you. Like, the change is that people are viewing you and you're comfortable enough to be the you that you always knew you were. Like, it's crazy to me. And the only other downside I have right now is I can't sing, and I love to sing. My voice cracks so much, and I think it's still deepening because I'm hitting, like, right now, I'm actually straining to talk up here comfortably. It's hard to get to where I comfortably speak because I'm so accustomed to talking higher. But, like, if I were to talk comfortably, like, this feels so much more comfortable in my voice right here. And I don't know if that's translating to a bigger change, but it's sitting lower in my throat. So here is much more comfortable, but I'm so used to talking up here that, like, you can feel it change in your throat, and I don't know how to. I'm not a music person or a throat doctor. I don't know how to explain that, but I'm gonna try to start talking down here because it's so much more comfortable. It's like you've been holding up this weight all day, and then you finally drop it, and that's exactly what it feels like. But and then I can, like, drop my voice all the way down here, and I don't know. Anyway, that's not important. The important thing is that you're gonna be much happier if you just don't compare yourself and you just be true to yourself. And I feel like that's actually something throughout life, because we're surrounded by social media of people going out and doing these amazing things, like seeing concerts and going to different states and visiting different countries, and you're kind of sitting in your room like, wow, I wish I could do that. Don't compare where you are to where other people are. Hey, that is just not a good way to go. That's not going to lead to a very happy tomorrow, and it's not good. I don't know. I think that's something that a lot of people do now because they're surrounded by it. I think it needs to happen a lot less. Like, if it's motivation to get a better life, then by all means go with it. But if it's just you sulking in your room, just remind yourself that sometimes it's not always what it's chalked up to be. Like, people post their happiest moments to share how happy they are, to show off how great they are. They don't show the bad moments unless they're looking for help, and most people don't like to ask for help. There's not enough of sharing bad moments just to share the bad. And I don't know, I think that's something that you gotta kind of keep in mind, is that everyone's life is gonna feel and look so much better than your own because you don't get to see the bad parts of their lives. So just keep that in mind. And that's the same transition-wise. You're going to see the best parts of someone transition because that's what they want to show. They're not going to show you the turmoil that they feel and just the struggles that they face with themselves because they don't want to acknowledge that themselves most times. I know I don't. Like, talking about the things that I don't like is kind of difficult because I have to say it out loud. I have to admit that, yeah, that's not something I appreciate. So I think for the most part, you just have to make sure you bring it back to being about you. This transition isn't about anyone but yourself. Just you. This is your transition. And it is going to be a miraculous one. With that said, I'm probably going to end it here, and I might do yearly updates. I don't want to do one every month because it gets tedious and I have to edit all these, and I want this to be more of a gaming channel anyway. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you want to. I don't typically ask for those, but I've been watching a lot of YouTube and people ask for those all the time. Let me know what you guys think, I guess. Your personal experiences with transition. Another thing, actually, I noticed a lot of people... Actually, I was told two things. So, firstly, I was told a lot of people, their sexual orientation changes, and mine is like, what the fuck anymore. I find mine very, very attractive, but I'm also of the belief that I find them so attractive because I want to look like that, and not that I actually want to date men. I'm fairly certain I'm quite straight. But apparently that does change, because I used to be like, oh, I'm a lesbian, oh no wait, I'm bisexual, no, I'm a lesbian, no, I'm bisexual, and I'm right back to that, but in a different way. And for some people it's, oh, I'm a lesbian. Oh wait, no, I'm actually gay. Like, it's weird. I don't know. My gender therapist went through that too. It was really weird. But apparently that's actually very, very common. And then another thing is, when I told my current endocrinologist about being diagnosed bipolar, they were like, oh yeah, a lot of female to males say that they've been diagnosed as bipolar 2-3 years on testosterone, and their diagnosis just seems to fade. They don't show the signs of bipolar anymore, which is fucking weird. But also, I wonder if there's a science to connect the brain chemistry with bipolar disorder and the brain chemistry with being transgender, because they're both neurological. So I wonder, I don't know, I can't help but wonder if studies should be done about that. That'd be really, really interesting to see. So maybe in the future. But anyways, like I said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Place them at the forefront of military politics and heavy labor among the tribes of Nasitak, men who form many of the old man's really riding our asses after that thing. Told you we shouldn't be drinking at precinct. Yeah, probably a bad idea.